Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Alicia for anyone who hasn't been here before, and yeah, I'm a self-taught watercolor artist. So I'm just gonna show you in today's video some of the watercolors that I've painted in the last few months. I think it's basically been since September through December, so yeah, here we go. Usually I like to paint watercolor landscapes. I think that's all that I have painted in the last few months, but there might be like a couple of animals thrown in there too. I'm not too sure, but yeah, let's see. We'll see in a sec. Okay. Yeah, so as you can see, obviously it was fall when I started painting these. Yeah, I really like painting watercolor landscapes, especially in the fall, just the different colors, the different trees. I really like this watercolor landscape. I think before this I had taken a bit of a break and I hadn't painted anything in a few months, so I was really pleasantly surprised that it turned out really cute, I think, anyway. Yeah, and for the next one, I think it was the same thing. I wanted to paint a watercolor autumn landscape, and so that's kind of what I was going for, but it wasn't really turning out how I wanted it to, and I didn't really like it, so I think I set it aside for a little bit. And then eventually I decided to come back with some oil pastels, and that's what you'll see here. I'm not sure if you can tell, but yeah, a lot of the vibrant colors aren't actually watercolors, they're just oil pastels. And I like how it kind of showed a different texture to the watercolors too, so that was really cool. So yeah, I did end up liking this one as well. And then next is, shocker, another watercolor landscape in the fall. And this one's more of like a top-down kind of view. I've never really drawn, there's actually a little car there on like the highway. I don't usually like to add like, I guess, paved roads and cars, but I just thought it was something a little bit different, which was cool. And then I added a little river there too. So yeah, overall I did like this one as well. And then here's another autumn landscape. Yeah, this one I don't like as much as the others, but I do still really like the colors, and I like that. I like the river again, and I like that this time I actually added a little deer in there too, because usually you'll notice I add in birds. I find it difficult sometimes to figure out what else I want to add, but yeah, I really like the deer in this one. I think it's really cute. And then, yeah, I remember after I painted this, I was like, oh, I've really been painting a lot of watercolor autumn landscapes, so I should probably change it up a little bit, which is when I painted this next one, which was more kind of on the winter side, and I wanted this to be a little bit more abstract. So I think I had done like water over top of the background to kind of make it like a streaky upwards feel. But if I'm gonna be totally honest, I don't really like this one. In particular, like I like that kind of effect in the background, but I don't like these trees. I think I was trying to go for a very loose feel, and then they just ended up looking really messy, or like I was trying really hard to make them look like these coniferous trees, but it just like didn't really work. The things that I do like, however, I like the deer, and I added a couple of rabbits in there too, and then the bird as well. So those are the things that I like. And I like the colors, but again, I just wish I had maybe approached this with a little bit more of a plan than I had. Yeah, and then next, I'll just move this one's a bit of a bigger size. Yeah, next one here, I went back to the autumn landscape because I just like couldn't get enough of the colors. Yeah, another really cute one. I really like the colors in this. And yeah, just something I really enjoy doing. And then here for the next one, another autumn landscape. This one, again, I always feel like when I'm painting the same thing over and over that, I don't know, that you guys will get bored of seeing it, or I get bored of painting it, or I just feel like I'm not challenging myself in what I'm painting. So then I decide to like change it up a little bit. So in this case, I decided to make kind of a park in the fall. So still having those autumn like natural colors, the red and the orange and the yellow, but making it in more of a cityscape environment. So obviously you can see the buildings in the back. And then I wanted to add a few more things kind of in the forefront. So here there's like a little dog, playing fetch with their owner. There's some benches, there's a couple of ducks in the pond. So yeah, I like how this one ended up turning out. I think it's cute. Yeah, and then next up is a bit more, I wanted to move away and do something a bit more abstract. Yeah, where the background's a little like out of focus, and then the foreground. I like this kind of spooky look. I think this was before Halloween, to be honest, so that was also influencing me too. And I like the colors in this one. I think it looks really cool, and I like the trees at the forefront too. Sometimes I think I can overdo the branches on these, but I like how these ones turned out. And then next up, another autumn landscape. So yeah, same thing, same colors, the orange and the red. I think I was trying to go for something a little bit more, I don't know, like kind of framing the middle. I wanted the colors to be more along the sides and then paint something to kind of focus in the middle, but I didn't like how it was going, and I feel like I was kind of giving up on it. So I just kind of wanted to finish it up as soon as I could. So to be totally honest, not my favorite one, but that's okay. They're not all gonna be your favorite, you know? And next, something a little bit different. So I did end up painting a couple of animals, I think. So I was going for, yeah, I don't remember what kind of fish. I don't remember if it was a specific fish, but yeah, a fish nonetheless. And I was watching a lot of videos about using different brushes. So usually I'll paint with kind of a round brush. So one like this, and that's how I'll paint like, you know, all my landscapes. But I really like the look of using more like a flat brush. And so that's what I was kind of wanting to give a go. Let me just see if I can find one. Yeah, so here I like the look of people when they use flat brushes to really just focus on specific shapes of colors and add them to an object or like an animal or fruit or whatever it is people are painting, or landscapes. And I just think it gives it, because then it like forces you to focus on the colors and adding the colors to the painting instead of anything else. Yeah, I think it kind of takes the focus away from trying to make it look perfect, which isn't, I don't want to go for that. I kind of want to try to have a looser feel to the watercolors. So to be honest, don't love how it turned out. I think I wasn't loving the fish, and then I decided to add some colors to make it a bit more abstract. So not my favorite thing, but you know, that's okay. Something new, right? And then next up, I painted a manta ray. So yeah, I think this happened the same day that I painted the fish, and I painted the fish first. And I just really didn't like how it turned out. And then I was a bit down, and I wanted to paint another animal, but I didn't love the abstract. So then I kind of just went for painting a manta ray, which is fine. It just like I didn't feel like I was challenging myself in any way or anything like that, which is not to say that all my paintings or all of anyone's paintings have to be like that, but I do like when I can challenge myself, because then I feel like I'm trying to, you know, improve and I'm learning and that kind of a thing. So I was just a bit disappointed that I didn't really challenge myself in any way. And then I think it was actually the same day where I painted this, which was just a Christmas tree, kind of a Merry Christmas thing. Again, I would come off of having been a little bit disappointed in my previous paintings. And yeah, I wanted something that was like quote unquote easy, that I didn't really have to think about or try to challenge myself, because I felt like I wasn't really succeeding in that day. So yeah, I tried this like looser Christmas tree, which to be honest, I don't love. I just think, like you can see here, there was way too much water for the pigment. Yeah, the green's not really vibrant. It's just a bit messy looking, which, you know, that's fine if that's what you're going for. I was going for like loose, but not messy. I don't really know if that makes sense, but that's what I was going for anyway. I don't know if that would have been something that I would have been able to achieve, but maybe one day I will. We'll see. Okay, and next up, then I think I came back to, this was definitely a different day, but yeah, another kind of spooky landscape. I forgot to mention that the paper that I was using for these two, it was actually a different paper than I had been using previously. I had finished up using like a big block of Artist Loft like watercolor paper on these, which is why they're all ripped, because I had ripped all the paper into quarters because I just found them to be too big. And then I moved on to a different block that I had, another Artist Loft one, but it was thicker paper and the texture on the paper is a bit different. So I was also kind of like trying to figure that out to see if there was going to be any effect. And as you can see here, there definitely is. I don't know if you can tell, but even kind of with the dry brushing on the water, you can see that there's definitely a texture there. One that, at least in my opinion for this paper, was a bit too structured, like not really a randomness to the texture of the paper, which I didn't love in this. I definitely got better at it though. Here, let me just show you as well which was the watercolor paper that I used. Okay, so yeah, this was the watercolor paper block. Yeah, as you can see, it's empty now. I'll be going through a bunch of the other watercolor landscapes that I made were using this. And so even though I didn't like this one exactly, I definitely made some that I did like with this paper. So I definitely would recommend this one because it's also on the cheaper side. So I feel like if you're trying to learn how to use watercolors and make watercolor landscapes, it really is like an affordable paper to use. So yeah, would definitely recommend this one. Okay, and yeah, the next painting here, there's this watercolor landscape. I was going back to, I don't remember what time of year. I don't know if it had been past Halloween already, if it was still autumn or it was going into winter, but yeah, I was kind of changing up from painting more autumn landscapes towards more winter landscapes. But then also wanting them to be, I don't know, trying out using different colors and stuff. Because I remember months ago, I tried to do this like pink and yellow combination, which I ended up not really liking. So I wanted to give that another try, and I actually really like this one. And I like the trees were a bit looser, but as opposed to this other painting, which again, I don't know what it is about these two, but I really like how the trees turned out here way better than above. I think here I was trying to do it a little less structured, because here you can tell that it's like I was trying to do very even branches on either side, which just doesn't look natural, right? Like trees don't look like that. But this was a bit more random, which I think is what I ended up liking better. And I like the color combination. So yeah, I just really like this painting. And right after I said that I was kind of going into the winter, I actually hopped back onto the autumn train. I wasn't quite ready to let go of it. And so yeah, something a bit different. I was trying, you know, the snow-capped mountains in the background, but also having some of those foreground autumn trees, which was pretty cool. Yeah, it's interesting too. Like you can see the progression of, you know, I can't say if I'm getting better or worse, but I just think having more time to paint these, I'm just getting more confident, I think, in my watercolor abilities for landscapes, which is really nice because that's something that I've wanted for a while, and I just don't feel like I've been succeeding in that. And that doesn't mean, yeah, obviously there's gonna be some landscapes that don't turn out, but that's okay. I feel like sometimes like I have off days, and that's just, you know, it's just par for the course. Okay, so yeah, moving on to the next two, actually, these are very similar and a bit different. So I was kind of wanting to do something more abstract. I really like how water looks. As you can probably tell, that's kind of what this was going for. It was like a sweeping wave off of the forest and the trees. I like this one more definitely. I think this one, the water I envisioned is how it turned out, and this one was a bit rougher. Yeah, so again, it just goes to show that even though I can paint a better watercolor landscape, in my opinion, I can go and paint something that's not quite as good right after, you know, that's just how it goes. But yeah, I really like how these went, and this actually inspired me to paint my next one, which is here. So I painted, yeah, I hadn't painted animals in a while, and then I decided to paint a watercolor hummingbird. Hummingbirds are really cute. I really like them. And then kind of that idea again with like abstract, kind of having that water, it's coming out of the water. It's not meant to really make sense per se, but I really like the movement of it. You can see like the water and then the bird springing out of it. So I really like this one. I think it turned out really nicely. Okay, and then next I really did hop into the winter theme. I think. I can't remember when this was. I think it was like mid-November kind of a thing. So it was like coming up on you know, the Christmas and the holidays and stuff. So yeah, I also added, I don't know if you can tell, but in the background, I started to add a lot of like salt, which is kind of what you can tell. It gives it kind of that snowy element to it, I guess, because it just like collects all the water and it leaves like an interesting texture in the background. So yeah, I really like this one. I thought it was really cute. The one thing I'll say is, yeah, I think I was trying to add like snow on top of the tree. I was using white watercolor paint, which as we know is transparent, and so it doesn't actually work well. So yeah, I think I have some gouache, but I don't think it's been turning out super well so far. So yeah, maybe in like future winter landscapes I'll be able to get that. But yeah, for this one, unfortunately, it didn't quite work out. So it was a little bit dark, a little muddy in like certain places, but in general, I think the snowman's really cute. I really like my river. In general, like I do like this one. And then next up, another winter watercolor landscape. Yeah, as you can see, I kind of have Rudolph there, a bird, yeah, and then some more trees. I like these trees. Again, I don't know what it is, the difference between these trees and these up here. I think it's, once again, that like very systematic addition of the branches up here that I don't like, which I don't think I was doing here. It was a bit more random. So another thing, I think that's something that I need to remember going forward, because I feel like I always forget it. And then I go back to try to make them look more systematic, which just doesn't turn out super well. But I do like this one. And next up, something a little bit different. I wanted to make more, I was going for a more abstract watercolor landscape. I can't say it's quite as abstract as I was going for, but it's definitely more abstract, I think, than like the previous ones. At least that's how it started, where you like the colors in the background, and then it kind of turned into a marsh. I was envisioning different marsh plants and like a pond, and yeah, that's what it turned into. And I don't usually use pink. Pink is not one of my favorite colors in general, but also not to use when painting. So I wanted to push myself a bit and use a color that I wasn't super comfortable using. Yeah, and I actually, honestly, really like how this one turned out. I really do. And I really like the pink in it as well. And that leads me to the next watercolor landscape, which once again is, as you can tell, a more abstract kind of landscape. And this was the first landscape or watercolor painting that I used, where I actually used, let me just grab it, I used a palette knife. So yeah, I didn't use a paintbrush at all. I just used a palette knife kind of for every single, yeah, kind of lines in the ground, and then the branches or like the plants going up. So that was really cool. That was really nice to use, and I really like the effect on it. And that's, again, where I'm gonna say about this watercolor pad is that this was the point that I really started enjoying this watercolor pad, because you can see the different texture of the plants. And on the ground here, it just like really came together. I didn't go into it thinking that it was gonna look like this, but I really do like how it turned out. And I love the colors as well. Blue is definitely one of my favorite colors to use. Yeah, so to keep on kind of this similar train, I wanted to keep trying out different watercolor landscapes that were a bit more abstract, similar to this. So that's where this next one came in. So I tried to use a couple different colors, maybe too much yellow for like what I wanted in the foreground especially, but that's okay. I just think I just overloaded the palette knife with the yellow. But I really like this effect more, because yeah, here I don't think I did that, but here I brought the brush and I like made a sweeping motion to kind of bring the colors up, which I really like. I think it's really cool. My boyfriend did say that it looks a bit like a wasteland. Definitely not what I was going for. I was thinking more like abstract marsh. So I really like it, and he likes it too, but he just thinks it looks completely different, which is funny. And I guess that's what abstract paintings are all about too, right? Okay, and then moving away from that a little bit, I decided to make kind of a spooky landscape. I wanted this to be more abstract than it ended up being, I think, but yeah, I kind of lost the abstractness when I was doing the back, and then I didn't really like it. I almost gave up on it, and then I just, yeah, thankfully decided to keep going. And I do like the color combinations it turned into something that I like, just definitely not something that I had planned on making, if that makes sense. And then next up, there's another winter landscape. Yeah, so same thing, salt kind of used in the background. The white ended up being a little bit better in this one. I think I'd used gouache this time around. It's still not great though, so I need to figure out like what I can do to improve on that, because I wish it was not, I feel like it's not super opaque. I feel like it's a bit transparent still. Yeah, so yeah, in general, this was like a fun one to make leading up to Christmas too. Okay. And yeah, another kind of abstract landscape. So as you can tell, that's kind of been hopping between like autumn and fall landscapes, between that and winter landscapes, and more abstract landscapes as well. There's just kind of been a little bit of a mix of that. So this was, yeah, more of the abstract. A lot more, I used a lot of salt on this one, which again, really love. I always love how the salt just like adds a different texture to it, which is really cool. I did think that the background was a bit dark for what I wanted, so I ended up kind of changing up the plan. And yeah, I added a tree, and I decided to add some birds sitting on the tree, and like, I think it was supposed to be a cat, but it looks more like a squirrel, which is all good. And yeah, honestly, I didn't love how this turned out originally, but I do like it now. And like, the more I look at it, the more I do like it. Okay, and then next up here, I think yeah, this was another abstract watercolor landscape. This one I think I followed from a tutorial, or at least I took inspiration from and tried to follow it a little bit. It wasn't, I'll add on the screen whose tutorial it was. I just can't remember off the top of my head. I think her name was Anastasia something. Yeah, hers was absolutely gorgeous, by the way. Mine, I think I added a bit too much Payne's Gray, and it turned it a little like too dark, in my opinion. Definitely not quite what I was going for with the trees, but you know, again, the kind of thing where the more I look at it, the more I like it, and it kind of seems like the whole sky kind of took on this hue of like the yellow and orange that was the trees. So it is, I do like it more now, I will say. Okay, and then next up, oh, I forgot to mention, again, change of watercolor paper, because I finished what was in this pad. So yeah, I ended up using, it was a gift actually from my mom. She just got me a bunch of watercolor paper that's in this package. I don't even know what company it's from, to be totally honest with you. But yeah, anyway, this one here, again, I was just trying to change it up a little bit. I don't love this one. I think I like kind of the idea that I was adding to it with like the pond, and I made a little frog, even though it doesn't look like a frog, and like someone fishing in the lake in the little pond. So I think that's really cool. And the green, I think I was just, the color combination in general, this green and yellow were just like a bit too vibrant, I think, for what I was going for. Yeah, so not my favorite. And then once again, I changed back over to some winter landscape. So yeah, the background with the salt, really adding to that kind of look like snow on trees in the back, which was really cool. Yeah, honestly, this one I wanted to keep a bit simpler. I just really enjoyed the colors and like the atmosphere, but I didn't really add anything in the foreground. And then next up, kind of, yeah, just a simple watercolor landscape with some trees. I really like this one. It's very simple, and I wasn't going for anything crazy, but yeah, I do enjoy this one. The next one, on the other hand, so again, showing that I can go to liking how I'm painting some of these trees and then come back to it in the future and just like not like how I'm doing it. I think these ones look a bit similar to the ones here. The systematic kind of branches on either side looking kind of perfect, and that's, I don't know what it is about that I just don't, those just aren't for me, or at least I just don't really enjoy painting them like that. So I need to try to remember that before I go into painting these. And it's funny too, because I remember I painted this on the exact same day, and these I like and these I don't, and I don't really know what it is about it. So hopefully I can figure that out at some point. Okay, and next up, I painted another abstract landscape. So in this one, I actually bought a couple new colors that I got. Oh, I wish I could remember. I'll put them on screen or in the description box if I remember what colors they were. But yeah, I got a couple new colors and I wanted to try making, a landscape. So this one, I will say, it definitely does look more like a wasteland to me. Again, not what I was going for, but it looks, well, not even a landscape, but it just looks like a forest on fire, which is just interesting to see the direction that it takes. It can just like turn into its own thing, you know? Okay, and then next up, something a bit different. I just wanted to like throw different colors in and make kind of a background without any direction. So that's kind of what the colors in the back, which I really like. And then on top of that, I decided to go in with some ink and make some trees in the foreground. So a little different than what I normally would do, because I don't really include ink and watercolor quite as often as I used to. But I like this one here. I think it's really cool. Okay, and then coming back with, I remember this day I needed something a little simpler to do, so I just wanted to make a couple of watercolor trees, nothing crazy, nothing in the background, but I still wanted to use blue. I'm like very much on this blue train, as you can tell. And so, yeah, I really like how these turned out. Very simple, but just like very cute, I think. And on the same day, I think I painted this. So this one I decided to do, I just thought it would be cool to frame like a mini watercolor painting by using the paper to add that frame on the outskirts, so not to use up the whole paper. And I think it turned out cute. I don't know if you can tell. I'm kind of moving this side to side to see if you can see it, but yeah, I used some metallic watercolors to paint like a foreground tree. And it wasn't super pigmented, not the best quality of those ones, but you can see it more when I, move it back and forth in the light. And I think it did turn out pretty cool. Definitely not as cool as I had wanted, but I still think it turned out nice. And it's cool, the effect of like something as simple as like framing it in the paper and not using up the whole paper. It just changes the feel of the painting completely. Okay, and next, honestly, I have to say this has been my favorite watercolor landscape in a really long time. Like, my absolute favorite. First of all, as you can probably tell, I love blue. I love adding blue. Blue is my favorite color. I just like having different colors. Like I had some turquoise in here, indigo, there's some Prussian blue, I think like ultramarine as well. Just like different blues blending together, really cool. I also love the ocean, shocker. So really anything that has like the ocean in it is just 10 out of 10. Yeah, I wanted it to be more like abstract as well, so I wanted all these blends of colors without it really like looking like I was trying to paint the ocean exactly how it looks. And then on top of that, I'm always in watercolor landscapes, I can always, like, I want them to be abstract, but then I want to have something that I'm painting that actually looks like a bit more on the realistic side, I guess. Not perfectly realistic, obviously, but something that's more noticeable. And I don't know why it never occurred to me to add a lighthouse in any of my paintings, but there you go. It literally just like randomly occurred to me, and I'm really happy it did because it just looks really, really cool. And I really love the colors. I love the like touch of yellow from the lighthouse too. I don't know if you can tell in the light like a whole lot, but there is like obviously the yellow light, and then I made kind of a yellow glow just extending slightly off of the lighthouse. So yeah, I will say this is definitely my favorite. So much so that I changed my profile picture on everything to be this lighthouse because yeah, I just love it. I love it so much. Okay, and then another one that I really like, not as much as the lighthouse, but I really love in this one, again, very like abstract, adding in different colors. I think I was using indigo, sap green, and then burnt umber, I'm pretty sure. I don't remember if I had Payne's gray in there. I don't think so. But yeah, I really like this one because it just feels more magical to me, where I used water to like sweep up the colors towards the sky. that almost makes it seem, I don't know, to me it has like a fantasy element to it with like a little cabin in there, you know, whether or not this is a little walkway or a little pond, like whatever it is that you see, I just really think it turned out really cute. And I really like this one as well. And then it's funny, I go from really liking this one too. Same day I made this one. It's fine, you know? And I will say I hadn't painted snow-capped mountains like with this amount of focus in a while. So, you know, it makes sense that I was just really trying to focus on that. I will just say I don't love how I did the sky. I don't think the colors blended very well. It's just a bit too dark for my liking personally. I think I could have added more color in there too, apart from just like a blue and purple, maybe a Payne's gray as well. I was kind of wanting to paint the stars too. And again, I can't remember if I was using gouache or white watercolor. And again, it just like doesn't work in this case. Yeah, so I, again, just need to figure out a better way to go about doing that. But yeah, I'll definitely keep trying and we'll get there, you know? So yeah, that was the last painting. Because this one isn't my favorite, you know, I'm actually gonna finish off here, or even better, I'll just like put this one on top. My lighthouse, very cute. So yeah, I painted a good amount of landscapes in the last few months after having a very dry spell, I think at the end of the summer or early fall. So yeah, as you can see, it's a good amount there, at least for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it to the end of the video, comment and let me know which one you like the most. I know there were a lot of them, or just like a general style that you like the most out of like what I've painted. Is it like the autumn landscapes, the winter landscapes, the more abstract? Was there like one specific painting? Did you also really like this lighthouse? Did you not like the lighthouse? You know, I love receiving constructive feedback as well. So if there's anything, you know, any tips for if painting these watercolor trees to make them look a little bit better or more of what I'm going for, if you have anything like that, I'd love to hear about it. So yeah, just let me know. And yeah, with that, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. And yeah, hope everyone has been enjoying their holidays as well. Okay, bye guys.